Okay, so welcome everyone and thank you for joining. So we were continuing the education of the vital being or the education of this life force or emotional force within us. And it's a beautiful journey with Mother and Sri Aurobindo because there is so much to learn, there is so much to observe in us, and there is so much to control, master, maneuver once we get to know about it more. So we were, I think last time we discussed a lot of things about vital, how vital works and the vital energy. And today, since vital, the training of the vital is very tightly linked with expression through art or music or any form of, like sensual expression, emotional expression, and also connecting to things of beauty. For example, looking at a beautiful scenery, being in nature, uh, or maybe drawing something beautiful, writing a beautiful poetry, uh, or any maybe movements, body movements, which are very refined and beautiful body movements. So through all these possibilities, we empower our vital. This is how in children, I'm sure Shweta would know more and share more later, that how in little children we kind of inculcate these capacities to appreciate beauty, to do works of beauty. And children are very good at it already. It's adults who are more utilitarian. Like if I'm doing something, as adults, I become used to thinking that, okay, what will it give me? What will I get by doing this? While when we are children, mostly we are automatically drawn to anything. The process itself is beautiful. Maybe I am working with clay or sand. For me, that is beautiful enough. I don't need anything for a means to an end. But as we grow adults, somehow this manipulation kicks in and we see everything as a means to an end. And there we suffer, we really miss out on a lot. And then we become this empty and hollow inside. And then again, we have to awaken ourselves and find something really beautiful in us, connect to beauty in different forms, and nurture that beauty. So this is all education of vital. Yeah. And Shweta, would you like to share anything that you do with little children in these areas at the moment, if you are getting any ideas? Yeah.
Yeah, so what comes to me is like, uh, uh, we focus a lot on, like, why hai, pehle, we talk about it, then children assimilate, and then we apply. So, vital, where do we see? We see mostly in music. Few children, uh, 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 are more interested and get attracted to music and the way, their creative movements come. It's so original, and the way they just flow with the music, creatively making their own steps. That is one thing, and every child is different, right? Few children, mostly at this age I deal with very small children, so music is something that, they like. And also role plays, how they become that character, how, like, abhi barish ke time pe, we explored like becoming a cloud, and then, becoming a rain. So each one was like, through their hands they would show how they are a big cloud, or, the way they would feel, random shapes. And then, like, also the sound, like, few children would say that, barish chum chum giri, few would say tup tup giri. Everybody has a different vocabulary for the sound. And mainly through drawings, so like, I can share just abhi 2 दिन पहले का experience. We had Independence Day where we do a lot of drawing. So we had whole week was on that, and then we had, like, expressing like how will we celebrate India's happy birthday. So, like, कैसे कौन आएगा, क्या किसको बुलाना चाहते. It was so heartening to see, children want to call the penguin also, the tiger also, and ek to rocket mein, the, one child said, okay, I'm taking you in the rocket and we'll both go to India. So beautiful that they're just so infinite, in their thoughts and imagination and creativity. It's beautiful to experience all that. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So this is all again, referring to the training of the vital, training of the emotional being, and letting it express itself through beautiful ways. And again, in this, for example, when we talk of music, now it's not only that music is education of the vital, what kind of music am I listening to? Because there in music also there is so much of variety, and especially coming from Bollywood, there is so much of kind of a, I would say, ugliness also in music. So in whatever music I would get used to and conditioned to, that would be the vital I carry. Like, it affects my education of the vital. So along with the music, along with whatever art and whatever I'm seeing, I'm also looking at what is the quality of music I am listening to, what is the quality of music I am producing also. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo say that that is also very crucial. For example, we talk about when kids are growing up to like condition their ears also to some kind of classical music, because that is more soothing, that is more beautiful, and it also is less vulgar. So that also comes part of the education of vital. The other part of education of vital is training of senses. I think, I don't know if we touched upon that or not. So this is all training of senses, and also refining the senses. For example, if I show you suddenly dots on your screen, now I ask you, okay, how many dots were there? So one has to make a guess. One would say 10 dots, maybe 12 dots, maybe 15 dots. So Mother says that you have to be very accurate slowly. You have to be very crisp and precise. And slowly you have to, this guess should be very exact, that you are able to guess it very exactly that yes, there were 15 dots. Or Mother also says that imagine that you are taking a few toffees and putting it into the bottle. So can you, through your exact guess, know exact amount of toffees that you took in your mutti and put it in the container? So this is all again come in the refinement of the senses, training of the senses. What are you hearing? Music mein ear training hoti hai, what is the note that you are hearing, and is it the accurate note? Or we usually get to know whether the other person is singing the right note, whether we have a music training or not, but somehow wo जो ऊंच नीच होती है म्यूजिक में, वी गेट टू नो कि कुछ गड़बड़ हुई है वहां पे. वी डोंट नो एग्जैक्ट क्या गड़बड़ हुई है, बट वी गेट टू नो. सो दिस ईयर ट्रेनिंग, the training of the sound through music, this all comes in refinement of senses. Tasting, touching, again this is a part of education also in uh, in childhood, when these philosophies followed, this philosophy is followed in education. What is the touch of, what is the texture of the thing that you are touching, what is the smell and feel of the earth, for example, and to express it out also, to touch it completely and to feel it. So when we talk about spiritual path, many a times we say to, since senses are the ones which are betraying us, so shun the senses. Ascetic discipline would say shun the senses. But Mother and Sri Aurobindo talk about refinement of the senses. That's the beauty, that we have to train the senses in the light of the psychic and higher understanding. So there is a beautiful life one can have, that one is not shunning the senses, still on the spiritual path of inner discovery, and yet utilizing each sense towards beauty. And that gives us a lot of joy whenever we utilize the senses towards beauty and perfection and precision. It gives us a lot of joy. Yeah. So again, this is all covering aspects of vital education. Yes, Shweta.
Yeah, I just felt like adding that I think it adds a lot of stillness also, na? Like with little children, when I talk of like training the senses, like अगर हम बोल रहे हैं अभी घर पे भी बोल रहे हैं ना, we eat fruits, we also do many project with seasonal fruits. तो उसका like texture है, taste है, like if you're taking an apple and a mango, how to stay with it and mango को touch करना, the texture is little, like liquid sa, juicy sa, and apple would feel. So all this, I think at that age, younger age, it gives a lot of stillness. In fact, we don't have it. Ghar pe bhi, like, with salt or sugar, or, the texture, rava salt, ye sab, if you really, it helps you to focus in the moment, na? Yeah, it helps a lot. Yeah. So all that, senses like that, like even touching the paints and just, putting it in your hands and spreading it on a paper, it gives a lot of grounding, for little children. It helps them to align to themselves.
Beautiful.
फेविकॉल लेके भी हाथ में डालो, spread करो, explore करो. So yeah, I mean, they go a long way, it helps us. So when the such training start at a very younger age, so it gives them a lot of, it's meditative,
Yes.
unknowingly for children,
Yeah.
gives a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And this is what we lose as adults, the taste for beauty, in search of utilitarian life, कि इससे मेरे को मिलेगा क्या, इससे मेरे को मिलेगा क्या, अच्छा ये कर तो लूं लेकिन. So we lose that stillness, as you were saying, the grounding and the sense of just being in the moment and enjoying the moment fully. And children are born, somehow we are born like that, but we lose it, since we are born in forgetfulness also, slowly, or through bad conditioning also, it just gets kind of lost in the way, and then we have to come back again, we have to find it again. So this is the taste for beauty, which children don't have a sense of utility. उनके लिए वो ब्यूटी बहुत है, since they are run by the psychic, they are in touch with the psychic being. उनके लिए वो beauty is a beautiful experience, and I नीचे palms में there is a child who I know, and I used to be so excited to see him because he is looking at other children taking rides on this mela, this Columbus and other merry, the wheel and everything, and he's doing like this. He's so excited and happy, as if that which the other person is giving, that is giving him joy. So this oneness, this connection with the other person, not thinking of you as a separate being than the other. It's beautiful how little children are already there, and how we gradually kind of lose it also, when the sense of individuality slowly develops, which is necessary in evolution. But then I think with proper conditioning and nurture, we can also avoid many things that we do with children, which can be avoided in childhood itself. So this taste for beauty that you were talking of, Shweta, so I think this is the crux of the vital education, the taste for beauty, not the taste for utilitarian things, but beauty. And that keeps us grounded, and that also keeps us in touch with ourselves. So if in my life I find anything which is naturally beautiful in me, and there are talents and skills that we are naturally born with, we may not have nurtured them, but they come naturally to us. Yeah? So to recognize them and to nurture them. Whatever I am good at, near to far ki jaise baat karte hain, whatever I am good at right now, I nurture that capacity in me. And then slowly I expand to those areas where I'm not really good, but I would like to learn more and understand more. So if it's beautiful, it's almost can be a mantra. Beauty can be a mantra actually. These are one of the four, I think, powers that Mother talks of: love, knowledge, power, beauty. Where if we just stick to things beautiful, or which help me create beauty in myself, then I'll be aligned with my own self. It helps me getting aligned with my own self, my inner truth. Finding beauty in others, that also is beautiful, that maybe somebody expresses something and you can see beauty in that person. That also is, again, education here, educating the vital. Yeah. And then the beauty of inner movements. So in the education of the vital also comes the training of, or the looking at the inner movements. Now, once I'm looking outside through my senses, and then I turn the vision inward. I'm able to look at my thoughts, my feelings, my sensations. And there is something in me which knows, which is what is ugly, what is beautiful. Something in me already knows. So if I see my inner movements, if I become conscious of my inner movements, first of all, this inner vision is required. And then I look at them and slowly I see what is beautiful, what is ugly, what is it that I require in my being, which is beautiful, which adds beauty to my being, and what is it that adds ugliness and I don't need it. So when we turn inwards and begin to sort and organize our being, this also comes in the education of the vital being. And this also connects us to self-mastery. So when I become conscious of my machinery, only then I can know what each part is doing and where unnecessary is kind of stacking up, and how I can eliminate the unnecessary and keep the beautiful only. And this requires a lot of persistence and love for the self, that yes, I love myself so much that I would put in that much of effort. Requires a lot of effort also. And it gives us joy. Whenever I am able to look at my inner movements, recognize a weakness, and maybe reject it or throw away it out of my being, that now I do not need this anymore. Now let me work from love rather than fear and anxiety. So it gives us a lot of joy when we progress in our inner movements, when we do this sorting and organizing. Just like when we are sorting our house, you may have seen some of us may be involved in it. So whenever we are cleaning our house, sorting, it gives us a lot of joy. Somehow suddenly something feels sorted. So the same thing when we do it in inner being, it gives us a lot of joy, sorting and organizing in our life. So if some of us are ready, we can do a little exercise. Yeah. I'll put up a picture here for you. And सौरभ, आपके पास पेन और पेपर है?
सॉरी मोनिका, अभी तो नहीं है बट
अच्छा, चलो ठीक है, जिनके पास है वो कर लें. So I'll just share something on the screen, and then we'll write something about it. Yeah, a few lines maybe. Just a second, give me a second. I'm just finding that picture. Yeah, got it. Okay, so this is the picture we have. We see the moon in the darkness. Yeah, so let us take a few moments, connect within, and write a few lines. It's a big challenge, I know, because it's very impromptu, and maybe some of us may not be expecting it. But let us give up ourselves this challenge, and let us write a few lines or maybe more, whatever comes to you. First, let us pause, connect within deeply, and look at the picture, and let us see what emerges out through poetry or a prose, a few lines. So in case anyone has written something and would like to share, it's okay if you don't want to share also. If you would like to share, and if you're ready. So these are deep, vital experiences which are emotional for the, which are important for emotional being, the education of the emotional being, uh, like nice expression, true expression of our inner being. And whenever we connect deeply within and either express ourselves through music, art, or poetry, or maybe any kind of writing, that just gives us a lot of, first of all, contentment, and also channelizes the energy at a proper place, right, towards a proper place. And like through this, we also, I think, we create a lot of intimacy with our own self. And this is the intimacy which we crave for in other relationships, in maybe relationships with spouse or friends. We crave for intimacy with people. And this is the intimacy which we have to first develop with our own self. The more I understand my own emotions, the more I am capable of having empathy for others' emotions also. And just like this, we can also, when you are at home and if you would like to experiment, just connect with yourself, take a few moments, go deep within yourself and express yourself out through colors, or maybe, maybe pencil colors, other wet paints, or anything. Maybe it could be clay. It could be, this molding clay or anything. It can be any expression which helps you to connect with the inner being and then give it a form externally. So this is very fulfilling in nature. It's very joyous, since we are talking of joy and beauty.
Yes, so I'll share something, not a poem exactly, but my thoughts. So
Yeah,
I'll just share it. Yeah.
yeah.
So this picture was very encouraging for me. So what came out, I'll just share. When darkness surrounds me and my heart, I embrace it with love and warmth. I know it's there for me to grow. It feels like a familiar corner, even when I'm sad and low. For now I know through my heartfelt journey that darkness has been my guide, my friend. It's always taken me along, nudged me, and pushed me to travel this path of faith and love. Light could enter and feel profound only because darkness was my friend who kept me heart bound.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Anyone else who would like to share anything? If you have been able to, maybe through thoughts think about it, or through lines write about it.
I can share again.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really just thoughts. Um, Through the crack, light peeps in, as if trying to tell me, "Open the door, my love. I have been waiting here for you since so long. Are you too busy to open the door? Are you too busy to let me in for a cup of tea? Are you too busy to play with me? Or have you forgotten me?" That's
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, Birenji, would you like to share anything?
So for me, actually, I'm not a poetic person or an artistic person, but what it reflected to me was basically, allowing light to dispel the darkness in oneself and one's own mind, basically. And that light actually, however small it is a ray of hope for the future. That's the meaning that came to me from the picture that I saw.
Beautiful. Yeah. So I think all of us would agree that this connection with the self and expression of the self, it requires a certain slowness. It requires it requires us to stop the running and just pause in the moment and do what is necessary, connect with it and reflect. So this is beautiful, and without this we cannot imagine to be fulfilled in life, and all that we crave for in life is fulfillment, contentment, lasting joy and happiness. And it is right here with us, just like we experimented with this, it's right here. But we are as if in a dord, we are running, we don't know where we are running to. And the moment we are ready to slow down and connect, we see that this contentment, fulfillment, happiness was always here waiting for me, just like this light was waiting in the darkness. So this is that. And the other few things that come into this picture of educating the vital is the handling of fear, rejection, and failure. The way we are nowadays bringing up our children is mostly in a very sheltered and protected way. Since there are less children that we have nowadays, one or two, and all our resources are showered on the children, and we think that we are actually doing a good thing by giving plenty. Yeah, but somehow it also makes our children fragile, since too much of pampering is there, too much of plenty of resources is there, and one is not kind of trained to handle fear, fear of rejection or failure. So it would be nice if we can also look at this aspect of resilience. That is the term we could use here, resilience in life, because those of us who are more resilient, they would then go through and face any challenge that comes in their life. But if I'm very pampered and kind of protected all the time, I am the only child, or only couple of children are there, very protected, never really experienced pain or failure or rejection, then what happens is it just handicaps me. And in future, when I will face all of that in the world, when my parents would not be around me, then it leads to depression and even suicidal thoughts, since I'm not able to deal with rejection and failure. So this is something which we can contemplate on, to actually be in the middle of the challenge also for our children if we are a parent, and if we are an adult, to go to the middle of challenge and face it, not keep it under the carpet and shove it under the carpet or imagine that it is not there. If there are challenges that are there in my life, not to avoid those conflicts and challenges. It may be relationship issues that I may be having. So to face the issue, to face the conflict, and to find a deeper harmony. Sri Aurobindo and Mother say that every chaos is here for a deeper harmony. So once I go through the chaos, once I go through the conflict, there is a possibility of deeper harmony. If I do not, if I keep on avoiding the conflict, then I'm also avoiding the possibility of a deeper harmony in that relationship or workplace or anything. So this is very beautiful if we try to reflect upon it, to face the challenge, to face either an emotional issue or an issue with a friend or a mate or something, to handle the fear, to handle the failure, to handle the rejection, handle the insult, let the other person hurt you, to go through the hurt, not to get involved in the story of the hurt, because there we don't, to stay with the hurt and to try to resolve the issue with the more clarity within, with the psychic guidance within, which is available to us all the time, with a deeper knowing that, okay, what can I do in this moment where this conflict is there, which any resolution which is beneficial for me also and for the other person, what can be done? Let us see. So in that, we also become a little selfless, in the sense, now I'm not keeping my opinions at first, that my ideas should be valued and not yours. I'm seeing that, okay, this is the conflict we have at the moment, and let us figure out a beautiful way. So if we can face the conflict and challenge that is there, that also comes in education of the vital. Yeah. So I think, yeah, awareness, I think we've already talked about awareness of emotions, and also mother talks about, in children, mother talks about delaying gratification. For example, if I am wanting something, if the child wants something, do not offer to the child immediately. Let the child wait for the thing to arrive. So that is something which can be inculcated. One may be born with it, mother says, one may be born with it, because there may be children who have a very strong sense of waiting and strong sense of patience. They are very patient about things. But then mother says that it's not that people who are not born with it, they are just, it's hopeless, their condition is hopeless. We can inculcate this capacity of waiting, because in waiting we have to be with our incompletion or stillness, and that is beautiful. We learn to be with that void or incompletion, or maybe if I'm waiting for a desire to fulfill, so I'm very okay with the wait. This is how we allow therav to come to us, or stillness to come to us. So delaying gratification of desires. And this also help us to control our own desires and impulses. When I am able to patiently wait for something, that in fact, I think one thing which I had shared earlier also, that in tribal communities in America, there I heard that what they do is that, imagine that, so usually they don't have much access to resources that come from the cities. So if they want a medicine, if they want something for the child or something, they as if give it out to the universe, that okay, we want this, that this is what we need. And then after they have given it out, they patiently wait. Now it may take 1 month, it may take 2 months, it may never arrive. But once I have given it out to the universe, I have this faith also that if it is required for me, it will come. So this also inculcates a lot of stillness and faith in the being. Again, these are experiments which we can do with ourselves if we are interested. Yeah. And then we were talking about inner beauty, where we become aware of our inner state, and we want to make there more clean, more beautiful, so that when I relate with the other, I relate with the simplicity, and not a very difficult sophistication, difficult to understand. I relate with simplicity, and it's also then easier for me to understand the other person, since now I am able to understand my own inner movements also. So now I am able to give space to others also, where earlier I was overwhelmed by my vital desires and impulses. Now since I am intimate with my inner movements, my inner machinery, and this machinery is similar in each human being, so I'm also able to give space to others. So this also inculcates sympathy instead of sympathy, empathy. That one can step into others' shoes and connect from that space. So this is another part of a byproduct of understanding our own self. Yeah. So any reflections, any sharings?
So I'm just reminded of this famous marshmallow experiment. It was done on few children apparently. Like it's there on Google. Anybody can check. I vaguely remember now. So few children were taken and they were said that ये आप थोड़े टाइम के बाद खाना ये मार्शमेलो रखा है but wait for a little while. I'm just paraphrasing it. I don't remember it. So and then they studied these children. There were few children who waited, as they were said कि नहीं ये आपको wait करना है and after a while खाना, and there were few children who just instantly took the marshmallow and they ate it. So these children were studied and for a long time, and what they realized is that children who really waited, that delayed gratification जो बोल रहे हो ना वो, they were found to be more resilient and more patient as adults, and ये instant gratification के लिए जो जैसे गए बच्चे तो वो उनका वो था, तो yeah, it leads to more resilience and all. There is this experiment which I vaguely remember.
Yes, absolutely. And referring to that experiment also, वही जो marshmallow वाला experiment है, where mother says that it's not that if you are not born with it, there is hopelessness and you cannot do anything about it. If you notice this from the very beginning, as when one is a child, then one can inculcate patience. And I have seen this with my two children, because they are although they look similar, they may look similar, but again I see opposites in them many a times. So one is kind of born with that much of waiting and patience, and the other one, owing to the fact that he's driven with more energy and enthusiasm, for him it has been a challenge to control himself to wait. But again, it's a beauty and grace only that since both of them are here, so I see that the one who needs to inculcate patience, he learns from the other that okay, if he can wait, I can also wait. So I've seen that they kind of mix and match with each other and learn from each other, and now it's much a better state, I would say, what was a few years ago, that if I need it right now. If I want to eat, I want to eat right now. But then now I slowly see that that weight is now emerging, slowly. So yeah, we can do something about it.
So
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Actually, yeah, being with each other, no, that's how I think classroom setup also
Yeah.
helps this, small children. Like especially, I can remember of one example, जिसमें like morning we start with a lot of sharing with each other, right? Circle time sharing. So what happens is there are few children who can't wait. They have this instant need of sharing. And so what happens is that there are few children who are not so vocal, and we want like आप बोल रहे हो ना training करना, we want all the children to share, and so it is important for these children to wait. ठहराव की जरूरत है, and दूसरे बच्चे उनको थोड़ा ऊपर बात करने की, because it's a comfortable unconditional space, so they need to share. So यहाँ पे वो हो जाता है, like how we take this circle time, and then how gradually we learn कि मेरी भी turn, आपकी turn आएगी. So yeah, that helps, that instant gratification thing,
Yeah.
So children learn to wait for their
Yeah.
turn also gradually.
And it's beautiful to see this change happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Year after year, yeah.
Yeah.
On this topic, maybe unrelated to what we're talking, I just wanted to know, with children, do they develop this themselves, or do we as adults, point it out that see XYZ is able to be patient? Why are you also not? I mean, or could you try to be patient as well? Or do we just let them discover this themselves?
Shweta, would you like to share something on this?
I would say it's an environment. So yeah, they learn, like we all say, na, like abhi, it's not like the potter who will, actually shape the pot. It's like you are a gardener who will, like, just be there and give an environment where each flower, each plant, each weed just grows. You're just there to facilitate it. So उस हिसाब से मैं सोचूं तो वही लग रहा है कि the environment helps, because as you say, like walk your talk, or kitna bhi lecture karo, children do what they see more than what they are lectured about. So going by that, but also as a facilitator, what I feel is, sometimes to bring it to, so children don't know that we're talking to them, but in a way to present it to them, even for small children, grown up children, not like kind of pointing out or lecturing, but bringing it to them in a very subtle way, so that they can observe it very repeatedly. That helps them to finally get it. And we I think that pace, for each child to take it at whatever pace to hoga, like you're sowing the seed, but you don't know when it will sprout. It has a promise of a tree, but when will it sprout, we don't know. So patiently sowing, patiently taking care of it, and then it will, yeah, but providing an environment, I think.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And I also see with my little children, my children also, that I cannot push, as you were sharing, Shweta, that one cannot force this to happen, because then when I am forcing this to happen, I am actually creating a very bad example. Because on the other hand, I want my child to be patient, wait. And what I am doing is I am highly impatient. I want the result immediately. That why are you not?
Absolutely.
So I'm not walking the talk, as you were sharing. And I see that one needs a lot of love and as you were already sharing, Shweta, that unconditional space and love. That yes, we need to develop this waiting and patience. And that does not mean that I don't love you, or I will love you more when you are there, and I will love you less when you are here. So, and we don't have to talk about love. Love is just expressed in gestures. So for example, if I do this story time with my kids, I do it every day. Now it does not matter whether you followed my instruction in the morning. So today I would do the story time or not, that it becomes conditional, and the child notices that. So we start this journey of wanting approval from the parents, that okay, if I do this and this, if I become a good boy, then mama will approve of me, mama will tell a story. Because for him, telling a story is a sign of that mama loves me, for example. Yeah. So once we provide the space that no matter whether you are a good boy or a bad boy, I will always tell you a story. No matter whether you waited patiently or not, story is going to be there. I am going to be there for you. I think that environment which Shweta was talking of, this nurture, it takes care of everything. So slowly you have the intention in mind that, okay, this is what I need to work upon on myself and the child. You have thrown out the intention, you are working at it. You are maybe delaying the gratification wherever you can, that, okay, let's wait. Maybe let's engage ourselves somewhere. And then we also ask the child later, okay, how did you feel when you waited today? Earlier you were able to wait 10 minutes, and now today, did you realize that you forgot about it and you were able to wait for 2 hours? So, and the child feels good about it. So I feel this communication also creates a lot of intimacy between the caretaker and the child. I see that with my children, that, for example, at bedtime, we do this talking, that, okay, aaj kya hua, kaun si cheez achhi lagi, kaun sa cheez, so we talk about this, that, okay, आज की कौन सी अच्छी बात थी, कौन सी गंदी बात थी, और कौन सी गंदी अच्छी बात थी, कौन सी अच्छी गंदी बात थी. So we talk about this, and it's beautiful for them to express and revise and recollect what happened throughout the day, and to share unconditionally, whether they were able to follow the guidance or not follow the guidance, or so there is no need for them to be a good or a bad boy. Just this observation of movements. I think that itself is so beautiful. Working on movements, working on your own self.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, absolutely.
and then also making ourselves vulnerable in front of them, that okay, today this is what happened and I actually did not like it, I could have done better. So when the parent is talking like this to child, that also it creates an impression also that hey, we are all human beings, we all make mistakes, we all make blunders, and then we recover, then we can overcome them. We all can be fearful at times, and then we can be overcoming our fear also. So that grounds us, that grounds the children also, that they are not it's not that the parent is there somewhere superior and they are very inferior, because sometimes we create that image with children, that parent is a godlike structure.
This is so important, Monica. Yeah, like for children to know that, we all goof up, and then, like confessing your goof ups wherever possible
Yeah.
with them, so they understand that, अरे गड़बड़ तो किसी से भी हो सकती है, yeah, that goes a long
way.
Yeah.
And then they learn to take their गड़बड़ in a
Yes.
okay way, है ना, कि
Yes.
अच्छा गड़बड़ हो गई, ठीक है, चेंज कर लेंगे, ठीक कर लेंगे. Yeah.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल वो वैलिडेशन सीख नहीं करते फिर,
Yeah.
दे थोड़ा हेल्प
Yeah.
होता है टू
Yeah.
हैव अ नॉन जजमेंटल बीइंग देन टू
Yeah.
डेवलप दैट बीइंग ट्रू.
Beautiful. Yeah. क्योंकि अक्सर क्या होता है, ना चाहते हुए भी कभी कभी हम ऐसा मैसेज कन्वे कर देते हैं कि अच्छा गड़बड़ हो गई तो इतना बुरा हो गया that we compromise on our love. We say that I am a bad person if garbad happened, and there the conditioning starts. Then first of all we internalize that lack of self-worth, and then we all our life we are trying to prove that we are worthy. Yes, Shreya, please share.
Just taking a few steps back, and sorry if I'm making the conversation digress, but I was just wondering about that thing, that storybook nighttime story example that you shared. तो मैं ये सोच रही थी कि like I have this belief, maybe because of the way I am raised, that actions have consequences. And then similarly for a child, if a child, for example, does not keep back all his toys, or does not, if he's not listening, then he has to learn that there are consequences to not following some order or discipline, and the consequences, no story, for example. So I'm not sure whether this is right or wrong, but I always thought this was a fair thing. I mean, for them to learn that, you have to respect, and it cannot be just like a Gunda Raj that I can do anything and still get everything.
Shweta, would you like to share anything? Or Bireni? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would just say that yes, consequences we do discuss through stories and discussions and dialoguing. A general thing, like especially through stories, animals की stories से कुछ ऐसे कि अच्छा ये किया तो ये हुआ, and then having it is not like just putting it on them कि ये करे हो तो ये हो जाएगा, but we do present it, to children कि अरे ऐसे किया था, आपको क्या लगता है, so taking their consultation, so you are just putting it in their conscience, कि अरे ये होता है, but not forcing them to do.
Yeah.
Because anything that we tell them or put it like this ना कि ये consequence है, ये it won't stay with them as it would always be a pressure, and it won't be a way of being that feels at home, or as a natural thing. वो naturally वही सब आएगा जो बहुत अच्छे से, it was not forced on you, or you could experiment, explore, and then take it if it meant to you. Because ये भी तो है ना, हर बच्चे का अलग होगा, तो whatever, like the mind has to be consulted in its own learning. That's a principle. So if it makes sense to you, if the child resonates at that level, then maybe he will take it, but always presenting it, because nothing can be taught. So and वही है, mind has to be consulted, and always we do it like that, in school or at home. Like I use this only कि to like talk about it, share about it, and leave it to the child. मुझे तो ऐसे लगता है, आपको क्या लगता है? Even with my teenagers, this is my opinion, and then because even if they don't understand, or there is a lot of vital that they want to go through it, but somewhere they decide their own boundaries, and my boundary will be different from their boundary and their comfort level and their growth. So somewhere it is their individual self that we are trying to develop, not according to me, or some conditioning that has been age old which nobody has questioned. So that's how
Yeah.
ऐसे मुझे लगता है, क्योंकि घर गंदा रहेगा या वाइंड अप, मैं अभी इतनी बड़ी हूँ फिर भी मेरे लिए वाइंड अप इज लाइक यहाँ बोलो बुक्स बोलो, आई लव टू वाइंड अप, बट किचन वाइंड अप करने बोलो एंड दैट्स द लास्ट थिंग आई वांट टू डू. सो अगेन इट्स अ प्रेफरेंस. वाइंडिंग अप इज नॉट एन इश्यू, बट थिंग्स आई लव, I'll wind up, keep them beautifully, set them up. But kitchen is something so it's like there's so many layers of things, na. So I think each to his own. I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Shreya, would you like to share?
Just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah. Mm. So I think Shweta, the point that you shared, the mind has to be consulted in its own growth. So things where we try to hammer instructions on children, they torture the childhood. They torture and they distort the natural growth of child. It's something which mother has warned us against, that do not hammer your instructions. Yes, discipline is required, but mother says a very few rules and a lot of freedom. That's what mother shares. So rules may be there, and we develop some or the other rules are there in every family, but a lot of freedom also. Because when we hammer and the child's mind is not really into it, that yes, I must change this, that yes, this is beneficial for me, the mind is not agreed to the conversion, then what happens by that hammering is distortion and torture. We inflict wounds on the child. This is what then as adults, we have to heal those wounds, connect with the child and heal those wounds. So first that. Secondly is that regarding the mess up, that I think the day before I was listening to a talk, and there the guy was saying that there is learn to see the beauty in the mess. So when the children have a mess, for example, I have learned to see beauty in the mess also with my two children, because if I am a cleanliness freak, and if the things have to be proper according to my idea of being proper, first of all, I will drive myself insane. And the second point is, then there is no aliveness in life. While now I see that each room that we have in our house, it's full of pug marks of my children. Yes, I have been here, I have touched this space, I have touched this space. And then one day I was also wondering that यहाँ पे इनका सामान पड़ा है, वहां पे इनका सामान पड़ा है. And then I looked at my own saman, and my own saman was everywhere. In kitchen, as Shweta was sharing, the kitchen was messed up a little. There I left a book, reading it. It was there, harmonium, half open, half closed. So I saw that, okay, I also am living in this house, and this house feels alive because of my presence everywhere. And just like that, the child is also touching each space and almost leaving its imprints everywhere, that here we are alive and we are kicking. So I think one can learn to see beauty in the mess also. It's not that only just flat cleanliness is beauty. There is also a beauty and aliveness in the mess also. So at times we sort things, at times, so the moment I sort things, in 15 minutes, the sort up is gone, and they find their beauty there, because we think that it's a mess up, but for the child, somehow it's not a mess up. They know that I kept that thing there, who actually took it out from here. Now for me, it was kachra, I took it off and put it in the garbage bin, but for him, he had put him in that place, and he knew that that was kept there for a reason. So we have different ideas of beauty. I think we learn to respect each other's ideas of beauty also here. That if and it's good to clean also at in between, you're cleaning up, sorting things, but then things again get chaotic and we are playing, and then everything is messed up again. That also has its own beauty. So learning to see beauty both in so-called cleanliness, neat and clean and tidy, and learning to see beauty in the mess. I think that also takes us a long way. And this punishment and reward that you were talking of, uh, that if you don't clean up, this won't happen. I think there also a very fine, delicate balance is needed, because it should not inflict on the self-worth of the child. Yeah. So one can make a few rules here and there, but the rules don't have to be very strict. A few rules can be strict, but again, they should not be harsh on the child that, I am not worthy enough if I am not doing that. So again, I think a lot of inward tuning and consulting our own psychic, our own knowing what feels right, what feels right. And again, what comes to me at this reward punishment also is that when a child does what is truly right and required, the reward that the child gets is the feeling that I feel good inside myself. So for example, we ask the child, okay, how does it feel to select a bed sheet and to make the bed? I ask the child, how does it feel now? Do you feel that it looks nice? And the child says, yes, I feel really good about it. So that itself is the reward. Cleaning up, tidying up, and looking at that beauty that you have created for yourself, that itself is the reward. There is no other reward I am waiting for. So whenever we do any action, I'm not only talking about cleanliness, because at times mess is required. It's absolutely required. So whenever I am, and the more comfortable I am with the mess, I feel that when we grow as adults, we have mess in lives. So I would have to learn to be okay, not being okay. We will have to learn to stay with the mess, because when I stay with the mess, it also taps me to a deeper strength, inner strength within. That things are not sorted outside, but I am okay. It's not bothering me that much. So that thing, and also this asking the child and talking about their own reward. I think this story, this little story which I had shared earlier, there is a little girl who steals a clip. Her eye is on a clip that her friend has. One day she's in the school, the clip falls down from the other friend's hair, and she picks up that clip. Now she had been eyeing that clip for a long time, and now she's in wondering whether I should give that clip back or whether I should take it with me since I like it too much. And for 3 days, that girl had very disturbing thoughts. It was very burdening for her, since she was not able to give it away, and she was also not able to keep it really, because it was not feeling right. So she decides one day that I would give it away. I would tell the teacher that I was the one who took it. And then she expresses and starts to cry, and tells the teacher that if you want to give me any punishment, you give me the punishment, but I just wanted to share that I stole this clip since I liked it too much. So the teacher says that this burden that you went through, this unease that you went through when you were not doing the so-called right thing, that was your own punishment. And now when you have expressed yourself out and you want to tell about it and share your kind of whatever you had, now how do you feel? The teacher asks. Now she feels lighter. She feels very relieved. That itself is the reward. So this idea of punishment and reward can also be internal punishment and internal reward. We don't have to outwardly punish the child, which we have done in our childhood. We have been punished, So that's a different thing. Yeah.
I think I am just reminded of, how Monica, you talk about collaboration always with mother. I think also like, parent child is also so much of collaboration that, always consulting them and, giving the free will and yet collaborating with them all the time. I think
Yeah.
it's almost similar. Yeah.
Beautiful.
How
Yeah.
mother does it with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. And वही बात आ जाती है यहाँ पे, जस्ट टू वाइंड इट अप, the more compassionate, the more kind, the more observant I am of my own movements, I think it almost becomes impossible that I hurt either the child or anyone I am relating to. So मुझे लगता है the cure for hurt and wounds lies in knowing oneself more and more, mastering our own movements, knowing our own self. Because the more intimate I become with myself, slowly it almost becomes impossible that I inflict hurt on others. So that is almost a ultimate safety I have, that at least knowingly I won't be hurting others. And if I inflict and hurt any hurt unknowingly, then immediately I notice it because of the sense of unease. I notice it and I do something about it. Yeah. So waking up from our ignorance, basically, this is our journey. That's why we are born in ignorance, because it's an adventure to wake up from ignorance. Yeah, any last comments or reflections? And yes, Shweta, please.
No, I just again feel the same thing. Childhood is so important, you know. Childhood is very important, and to have, you know, adults around who can understand this and not put, you know, conditioning, or, you know, like just like, you know, like this author Shafali Sabri. I don't know if you've heard. She has a very beautiful book on conscious parenting. It's a very known book, and Awakened Family is another book. She's a well-known psychologist. So she always says that, you know, before you even plan to have a child, it should be mandatory that you have done child counseling and gone through all this. It should be a basic need, you know, to understand, because हम तो कैसे शादी हो गया, बच्चा हो गया, it is so basic कि हाँ इसकी बात है, that's the next step. But it is extremely important to know how, you know, being a baby, you know, like the psychology, you know, how, because it's so much more than just a cute baby, you know. It's so
Absolutely.
responsible. We
Absolutely.
have to be so responsible. So you know, I wish that, you know, हमारे time पे भी ये होता. Like अभी तो you know, we know that a lot of awakening, even as parents, you know, they are open to learning and unlearning all that baggage. But you know, like, yeah, I feel like when we were small, this awareness was not there. There was nothing called, you know, like parenting with awareness, you know, consciousness. ये बहुत कम था, I feel.
Absolutely. Bilkul with you, Shweta. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
It
always
must
feel
be
very
mandatory.
bad. Yeah, it must be mandatory that, you know, if you're planning to have a child first, I mean, you should have this basic, you know, child psychology and everything. That should be compulsory.
Yeah.
You know.
और पता है उसमें क्या होता है, because मतलब we do so much of torture in our ignorance, because since we don't even know our own self, how can I in love nurture some being, you know, other than me? It's impossible. I will inflict wounds and injuries on the other, since I don't even know my own self, and the machinery is the same. So I think this self realization, keh lo, understanding your own self, child counseling, keh lo, all of this runs parallelly. If I don't know myself, if I'm not aware of my own movements, it is almost impossible that I do not inflict injury on others and the child. So absolutely with you. Absolutely. हम इतना इजी समझ लेते हैं ना इसको, इमोशंस में लेके बच्चों का, कि अच्छा आप शादी हो गई चलो बच्चा करो, चाहे खुद बच्चे हैं, अभी खुद कोई ग्रोइंग अप नहीं हुई है, now a bachcha is giving rise to bachcha just because bodily I am ready, and 34 or whatever the age is, bodily I am ready, and we think that I am mature enough to give birth to a child, but it should change. Yes, please share.
Yeah, exactly. I think for the whole vital also which you are talking about, everything comes in that, है ना? मतलब the whole training of vital, endurance ho gaya, you know, senses ho gaya. Imagine na, like if we as parents would have known that a child has to be exposed to so many sensory experiences, sensorial experiences, which will, you know, help him to develop. मतलब right from हम में से कितने जो खाते वक्त एक फ्रूट को लेके, you know, बच्चे को प्रेजेंट करते, अरे you know, like look at this, touch this, ये तो ऐसा है, अंदर से ऐसे बाहर, you know, ये अगर हमें पता होगा तभी तो हम बच्चों तक लाएंगे, you know, developing their senses, helping them, you know, to develop that, you know, perception. तो
Yeah.
yeah, तो वही वाइटल सारा भी उसी में आ जाता है, द ट्रेनिंग ऑफ वाइटल, यू नो, एवरीथिंग, एंड्योरेंस, रेजिलियंस, it all starts from childhood. Such an important time of, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. और हमें लगता है कि बच्चे छोटे हैं, नहीं समझेंगे. I think the way they understand, I think it's very, they first of all they pick up so quickly, and we just underestimate them, and we overestimate our own self. You know, I believe that's it's. Mother says that as soon as the child is ready to understand, the training can start from there, and at the age of, I would say 3.5, 4, the child is ready to understand. So the training can start from there, and it's not a military training. It's just very subtle, indirect training that we have to inculcate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just develop, giving an environment. That's all.
Yeah.
Just an environment.
Yeah. And since I am the part of environment, I am also involved. So my sadhana has to also, I have to be at it. I cannot imagine that I remain in dirt and my children turn out to be beautiful. So it requires a lot of
True. And
courage
it's a
also.
constant unlearning.
Constant.
Unlearning. You know, you do never arrive. So,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
fact, your children only teach you, you know, so much, so
Absolutely.
much. Absolutely. They come into your life only to make you a better person.
Bilkul, bilkul. Totally.
Provided you're open to learning.
Yeah. I think this receptivity, if one can have as an adult or a parent, you know, this receptivity to learn from children, I think it does two-way good. First of all, it nurtures the child, and it also nurtures us. So this is, and it's a very soft way of learning, since the child is not a military trainer like us adults. So the child has his own ways of teaching through his presence, through his own being. And if I am ready to learn, I am receptive enough, and I know and understand that the child has more beauty and elegance than me as adult, I think that can really bring a lot of transformation in both of us, you know, the child and the parent. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. होना उल्टा चाहिए, पता है, मतलब बच्चों को स्कूल खोलने चाहिए एडल्ट्स के लिए. Somehow it's the other way around. लेकिन हम उसको भी करप्ट ही कर देंगे, है ना, स्कूल खोल के. Giving it a system, you know, it will corrupt the system. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you for sharing and reflecting. So let us see. I'm not sure. I'll have to check what's the status of our process. And if we are done with the vital, then we will start with the, we can start with awakening of the psychic also, or maybe touch upon the body. But yeah, let's see. So we'll either touch upon awakening of the psychic next time, or maybe body. I want to take the body later. Maybe let's start with awakening of the psychic. It will be interesting. So yeah, thanks for sharing and joining in today. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mom.
Bye.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.